Right, so welcome back to another episode of Cool Story Bro. Today we have none other than Kavin Jay,
Hey, what's up, guys?
Malaysian comedian.
Yes.
Second Malaysian to be on Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, so I'm your host Yim, and this is Nabil, the other host.
What's up?
So, so anyway, before we start, just a plug 100%. So if you want to get some cool sneakers, like new CNY clothes, you can visit 100%.com.my and use the promo code CoolStoryBro, and you get like a discount when you check out. Okay, anyway, let's get into it. Right. So, Kavin, for those who don't know who Kavin Jay is, maybe you can just introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, to all three people who know me, hello. The rest, my name is Kavin Jay. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've got a show on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, hey, watch lah. Help a bit lah.
Do you get any royalties from Netflix?
No, I don't. That's not how Netflix works, right? Because they own the IP, so they pay you a performance fee, and then basically belongs to them.
Oh, so they just pay you for the job lah, and then
Yes,
after that they
pretty
just
much,
own it.
yeah. They pay well, don't get me wrong. I mean, not as well as what you hear in the papers, but I call it to be lah.
Yeah, that's good. I mean that whole Netflix special is all like, from what we understood, you got it through Harif, is it?
Well, no, I mean, Harith had already been confirmed for a Netflix special, and I happened to open for him to warm up the crowd, and they were looking for a third act to do a Netflix special. I guess, I don't know, I mean, I guess none of them kind of fit what they wanted, and then they saw me, they really liked what I did, so they came up to me and say, hey, would you like a Netflix special? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, what kind of question? It's not a question
Yeah,
anymore,
what
right?
kind of question is it? Would you like another? Yeah. Like, and then they gave me a contract, and I signed it lah.
But after that episode, so is there gonna be another one coming? Or?
Yeah, follow-up?
It depends on how much I hustle lah, guys. So yeah, no, I mean, I'm working on it. Obviously, if it's not Netflix, it's iFlix. If it's not iFlix, it's Comedy Central. Something will happen lah. Don't worry.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Ah.
Yeah, any question? Are you? What's that long side?
Finish already. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think. Alright, since actually, we're here to talk about mostly comedy, but actually, since this messes
Sure.
like streetwear and stuff.
Streetwear.
So-
Who?
Primarily.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
just
I don't
wanna
know if you
ask-
saw my T-shirt.
That's
I
cool
really
T-shirt.
Like it,
That's
yeah.
cool. Band t-shirts are cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any favorite shoes?
Shoes.
Yes.
Vans.
Nice.
Vans.
Nice.
Vans are my favorite. I mean, Converse is alright, but I love Vans because the comfort and the look of it is just brilliant. I have I went to US 2 months ago, and I bought these Van shoes. I love the designs, right? So it was the cartoon Peanuts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Charlie Brown and stuff. Yeah, so it's the Peanuts one.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
so yeah, so it's kind of cool. I like it. Like I also had the Batman one.
Nice.
I had the Star Wars one. So yeah, I'm a bit of a nerd lah.
It's okay. You can look at around your surroundings.
Yeah,
There's a lot of,
I started to look behind you and I thought, yeah, you guys are nerds too.
Yep, pretty much. But this place is his place.
All right.
Yeah, so he's a Star Wars
So
fan.
he's the nerd.
He's the
Okay,
nerd.
he's the
okay.
nerd.
Yeah, but we all have our own nerdy side too.
What's your favorite episode, man?
Oh, tough question.
Tough question.
Definitely not first.
No, that one they don't count. They don't exist.
But
Do you
I
like the
would
new
say
ones? Do you like new ones?
Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. That's very popular. My one is New Hope, but
New Hope.
yeah.
New Hope is episode
4.
7.
Four.
Four.
Four, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the.
I mean,
That's the
second
original
trilogy.
first one
Yeah,
lah.
yeah,
The
yeah,
original
yeah,
first
yeah,
one.
yeah.
The first one don't count. The original first one.
Alright.
I think I like the one with the new cast. I can't remember.
Not episode 8. So that would be The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Last
The
Jedi.
Force Awakens, then The Last Jedi.
The Force Awakens.
Oh, Force Awakens.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
episode 7.
7.
Yeah, I liked it. Yes,
Uh-huh.
I liked the fact that it followed a lot of the old style. Like you could see the hand puppets. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's very subtle lah, but you can see the hand puppets coming out and stuff like that. And it's actually kind of cool. It brought me back to the past. And then The Last Jedi came along and it changed everything. Like it just took a complete 180 and decided to do things differently. They follow the story, but they went a bit weird.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't like it. I enjoyed it, but I just miss the feel of Star Wars. You know,
But-
it felt like a different movie already.
But do you think like because they had to do things like this, like kill off Luke, is it important to progress the storyline?
I
in the
guess. I
next
mean,
times?
the thing is, Luke not dead, right? Here's a fan theory for you. No. I mean, clearly, I mean, he died, but he didn't die lah.
Yeah, he's
You
a
know,
Force ghost
yeah,
lah.
Force ghost lah. He'll come out as Force ghost lah. Now he'll be the next Yoda. He'll come out like every. No, he'll be the next Obi-Wan. Actually, he'll come out like ghosts everywhere, like use the Force ray, and So basically, it's killing off a character, but you don't. In Star Wars, nobody really dies.
That's true.
Yeah,
It's
that's
weird.
true.
Right? Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's one of those things lah where although they made a 180 already. I didn't think like the fact that Luke died at the end was not a surprise to me lah. I mean that was something like in every trilogy of Star Wars someone dies.
Yep.
Right, and this one it was right for Luke to die like old already.
Yeah, he's old.
Yeah. And so basically, move on the story with Rey now being the hero, and I just hated the fact that there was very little backstory.
Yeah.
To understand what was going on. There was very little like on Snoke. There was very little on Rey, so you don't get connected to the characters as much as you get with the old ones. Like for instance, you see with the old stories, right? With Darth Vader, when it started out with episode 4, 5, and 6, yes, there was not a lot of backstory with Darth at first, but then slowly you start finding out a little bit about him, and the stories come out, right? With the new episodes, there is no back lore. Right? There's nothing for us nerds to kind of latch on to and to
digest.
and digest, and also to show off to people that we know more than them. So I guess that's where I feel like, hey, give us something lah. Give us something to latch on to. Who is Snoke? Who is Rey? Why? What is going on? Like, we want to delve deeper into this, but we don't know how because there's nothing there.
Because the laws are all very cool.
Yeah, the laws are
Super
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
and if
cool.
you look at the old cartoons that they have, which is no longer canon, by the way, if you look at all those, like there's so many lores. Like Luke Skywalker marries that redhead girl. I can't remember her name now. But then they have children, and then one of them becomes the Dark Lord, and and then Ben Ben Solo apparently was another thing, and so it's a bit weird lah.
It's a world in itself.
It's
in a sense,
and I guess the only reason why Star Wars in the old days was so popular was because of this, right? Because of the fact that you had so many things to latch on to, that you could you could make you could immerse yourself in that world. Like for instance, when you look at how J.R.R. Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings, right? He created so many universes along with the books, right? So he made everything, and it became more and more people love the fact that he created a language for the elves.
Yeah.
And even the writing and everything, he wrote poems, blah blah blah, and and nerds want this.
Yeah, man.
They want to latch on to this so that they can go back and they can read Elvish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I know a guy who knows how to read Elvish.
Like
How-
fluently.
Yeah, like fluently. This has got no life.
I mean, it's just like Star Trek and all these kind of
Yeah,
Star Trek,
exactly,
Harry
yeah.
Potter. I mean, they all have really good backstories to it.
Yes.
Which is why people immerse themselves into it.
Exactly.
I mean, personally, I'm a fan of like, okay, like, I like Harry Potter. I like
Okay,
Lord of the
I've
Rings.
never seen Harry Potter or read the book, so that's the only thing.
Okay, the books are legit.
Yeah,
the
of course,
movie
of
is like,
course. Nah, yeah lah, I
decent,
get it.
But I mean, because when you read the books, you see so much more than just what you see in the movies.
Exactly.
You understand the backstory, understand
Yeah.
the reason behind all these things that's happening. And
Yeah.
this thing is really cool. All these movies nowadays.
Yeah,
And
but
I guess we're kind of lacking that now. Because now
no, you see, like even with Harry Potter, at least there is the Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah,
the back lore.
Yeah.
You see, like the new Star Wars, right? They want to do the back lore. Like I think the most popular offshoot movie was Rogue One.
Yep.
Because
Yes,
it was
yeah.
based on the old movies,
Yep.
and that lore was properly. It was an interesting story at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now they have like what they don't have ideas. What young Solo really?
Yeah, that was bad. Though. That
Did
was
we
bad.
really need
That was
that
bad.
one?
Yeah, that was kind of like a filler.
Yeah, that was like
Yeah.
hey guys, let's make more money, guys.
Exactly. It's all about the money's game now.
Yeah,
look, I mean,
it's
look
all
at,
about money.
Look at DC. Look at what
Yeah.
they're doing. I mean, that is like pretty much they kind of messed up and
I pain, no, when you bring
I
up
know,
DC.
man. I'm a DC fan. When I saw
huge-
Batman, I was like, man.
I'm a huge DC fan, and Batman's my favorite character
Yeah.
of all time, right? So the way they screwed up Batman,
I know, man.
I want to go Batman on them, you know what I'm saying?
Like the whole Christopher Nolan's one was.
Yeah, that was fine.
Top of the world,
No, you
but-
see, the thing is, the way Christopher Nolan did it. Now he took the story of Batman, he changed it also.
Yep.
Right. He made everyone human.
Yep.
Which is fair, and I get that. I understand what he did, and I relate to them more now.
Yep.
Right. But what the new movies have done, Snyder.
Basically over exaggerated.
Yeah, no, he changed the story. He changed the characters.
Yeah.
Right, Batman doesn't kill.
Yep.
Right, with BVS, and then suddenly I guess people heard what they heard what we were saying about Batman, and then they changed Batman again
Yep.
in Justice League, and now he was just a wuss making jokes. Batman doesn't make jokes. You know, everyone around him makes
Yeah.
jokes, but he doesn't make jokes. Like he knows he is 3 steps ahead of everyone else, which is what makes him more powerful than
Yeah.
you
Without
know.
the powers, he's very smart.
Yeah, exactly.
He outwits people.
Like I don't know if you watched the what do you call that, animated movies.
The ninja one.
The ninja one was good, but my favorite was actually Justice League Dark.
Oh,
That was good. That was good. That was good.
Yeah,
That's dope.
that is so good because you saw Batman for what he is. But although the comics know Batman,
Yeah,
lah.
yeah.
But but at the end of the day, you saw Batman for what he is. Like even the ghost also cannot
Yep.
what possess him because he's way too strong for that. Like it's weird lah. Like I don't know how like the animated movies can get it so right and then the real movies get it so wrong.
Exactly. I mean, for just use the directors from those animated movies.
Yeah,
'Cause
or
they-
the writers.
Exactly. They get the movie, they get it right, and they don't butcher it.
Yeah,
They never butcher it. Never.
Exactly. It's not like the animated movies get away with a lot more.
Exactly.
They don't.
They
it's
don't,
the
they
same
don't.
thing.
It's
Like
really they get
it's
shit
not
on.
even rated R.
Yep.
Right. And also the fact that I know animated you can do a lot more things. Like, but we're not complaining about
The CGI and
the
stuff.
CGI
Let's
and
go to
stuff.
the
That
storyline.
We understand. Okay, CGI not so good. Yeah. Okay. I mean, Doomsday look like
I know,
crap. Like what were they doing with Doomsday? But no, that even that we can accept. It's okay. Doomsday look bad. It's okay.
Yep.
But the story, just come on lah, just write
Yeah.
properly lah. You know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think like the animated movies. I think one of my favorites was Batman Beyond.
Oh, that was
The
good. Yeah.
series,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think like something happened like when Joker died, but his sort of like memory is implanted to someone else. So
Yes.
someone else thinking of it.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
amazing.
My favorite was probably of all time Flashpoint Paradox.
That's good.
It just gave me a whole new look on the Justice League.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Batman
Father was
the,
Batman.
the father was
That dope,
Batman.
man.
and when he's and he kills. Like
Yeah.
you see like that kind of writing, Batman killing, you accept,
Yeah.
because you gave us the explanation of why he
Exactly.
kills, right? Because it's Batman's, it's Bruce's father instead of Bruce, right? And then the mother becomes Joker. Did I do a spoiler there? Spoiler alert, guys.
It's crazy. It's a crazy story though. Actually, I really like that. That was really fun.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
such a good story.
Yep. So in terms of like actually, what was the reason why they shot your special in Singapore?
Why budget basically was the issue. Because I shot same day, same audience with Fuzz.
Okay.
So instead of getting the production or cameras and everything for 2 days, they got it for 1 day.
right.
Oh.
So they pay once only lah. So basically, Fuzz went on, did his stuff for 1 hour, and then I came on do another hour lah after that, right? Right after that to the same audience. So I was very nervous because obviously, when you do comedy, people get tired, right?
Yep.
After especially after 70 minutes of listening to very high energy Fuzz, I thought the crowd is going to be like dead lah, at that point. But when I came out, I told my first joke, they laughed so hard. I'm like, yeah, this is a good crowd. So and it spurred me to go on lah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But as a comedian for how long have you been a comedian now?
13 years.
13 years.
This
So
year, 13 years.
have you ever remembered a time where you bombed? Like you basically like nobody laughed and so how does that feel to
That happened last week, bro. What are you
Oh,
talking about?
shit. Wait,
No
when-
lah, it happens all the time. Like
Yeah.
it's not like no matter how great a comedian you are, doing it for 100 years or so, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You will die. Like there's no shows that there's no comedian out there that can say that I never die. It doesn't work like that,
Yeah.
right? There's always shows that you do that another comedian, a very famous comedian in US, he told me this, right? Tom Rhodes.
Okay.
He said, "There's a shit sandwich waiting for you. You don't know when it's gonna come, but when it comes, you gotta eat it, lah." That's how it is. Like, you don't know when your next bad gig is gonna come. It's more infrequent the better you get at it.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
It
will still come. Like, most of the time corporate gigs lah. Corporate gigs. Yeah. And most of the time when we go to a corporate gigs, we don't know what to expect. We're nervous as hell. We don't know how the crowd is going to, because these people didn't come to listen to comedy. They came to network, have dinner with their friends, make fun of their bosses or whatever they want to do, drink alcohol, and eat prawns. That's the that's
Prawns was a selling point.
Yeah. So basically, and then you come up and you are this guy who's trying to talk to everybody, and it becomes very difficult. The more famous you are, I guess, the easier it is, because the moment you come up, people know who you are. They're like, oh, okay, he's
They
funny.
already have a certain level of expectation.
So like Harith Iskandar would come to rock up to a corporate, and half his work is done, because they know Harith Iskandar, they know who he is, and then this guy Kavin Jay, who is this fella, an Indian fella talking cock on the stage, like it becomes like, oh no, now I have to work that extra hard to get their attention and to prove to them that I'm funny first, and then only go on with my set, right? So it becomes weird lah. Like, and then sometimes they are too drunk, sometimes the prawns come out in the middle of my set, I lose the audience immediately. Which is why there's a clause like, please don't serve food. But yeah, so you want to know about the bad gigs that I've done?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Let's do this. There was this time, one of my earliest gigs, I rocked up to this venue. They hired me for corporate, right? So I rocked up to this venue, and I was a bit late because I told them I was going to be late. So it just nice, I walked in, they handed me the mic, shoved me on stage, right?
No prep, no nothing.
No prep, no nothing. Like, I mean, it's doing comedy lah. What prep you want, right? So go lah. So I walked on stage. I started telling jokes. Nobody listening. Nobody doing anything. I'm like, oh no, what's going on? And then after 10 minutes, I thought I cannot get this crowd.
Yeah.
I'm done. So I said thank you, good night, and then I walked out. And then the MC goes on stage and starts talking Tamil, right? And then I look at the signboard, Baba's factory, this thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should have done some research. And then the agent runs up to me and is like, hey, I thought you were going to do your jokes in Tamil. And apparently the wrong question to ask is, do I look like I speak Tamil? Apparently the answer to the question is yes. So, yeah. And yeah lah, they didn't understand English. That was the problem, right? Same thing happened to me in Seremban. They hired me, and I was like, and this time I'm like, because it was a ceramics factory, and I learned my lesson, right? So I'm like, sure, they can speak English, sure, confirm, no problem, confirm. I rock up, right? 700 people, 80% of them foreigners, like Burmese, Cambodian, Thai. I'm like, they're all factory workers, they're like, no, the people who hired you, VIP table, it's okay, those 3 tables laugh. Right? And true enough, when I was doing, only 3 tables are laughing, the others don't care, right? Yeah, so, and then another one is, this one is the best one, I think. Not the best, the worst one lah, probably.
The best worst lah.
So I got this Japanese company, right? I won't tell you who they are, but I rock up, and I rock up early this time, right, at 7:30, and then they say, okay, so you're on at 9:30. So I was like, okay, cool. So I chill out at the back there, bands going on, there's so many things happening, alcohol free flow, right? So then 9:30 rocks up, and then the agent comes up with me, I'm sorry, we delayed, so 10:30 now. And I'm like, 10:30 is way too late.
Yeah, it's quite a long
But
day.
they're like, no choice, we have to, because they want to push forward the opening or whatever. I don't know what they're doing. So then 10:30 rocks up, and I'm still not up yet. Right? The event ends 11, by the way. Right? The crowd is well and truly drunk, right?
Yep.
So yam sing's happening intermittently over the course of the day, 100 tables, right? So at 10:30, I'm still not up yet. I'm looking at the agent like, bro, this is not happening.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'll get you up now. So as he's telling the MC, hey, get the comedian up, the boss runs up, Japanese guy, runs up to the stage and does a little dance. Crowd is growing mad, right? Because let's face it, your CEO is doing some dance. and you are drunk, and you like everybody, the CEO drunk like hell, right? He's dancing like anybody, and then suddenly, then the MC goes out, ladies and gentlemen, comedian, right? Nobody gives a flying monkey's ass, right? Because I walk up, everybody is, yam saying happening there, talking, this, thing. And I try my best, right? I try 1 joke, nothing, 2 joke, nothing, 3 joke. I look at the agent, I'm like, thank you guys, thank you for having me. And I walk out, nobody even noticed that I was there, right? And the agents, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 gave me the check, and I chow lah. I felt like a prostitute that day lah.
Well, so you didn't end up not doing anything then?
I did 3 jokes. There's no way I can handle this crowd.
Yeah.
It's too rowdy, it was too drunk. There's no way. And then the last one was, actually this was a good show, right? But it was a bad situation to be in. I did, I think about 4 years ago, I did Shell.
Okay.
Right, and if you notice, 4 years ago was the oil crash,
Yep.
right? So they spent a lot of money on this whole division Shell thing, and everybody was there, and like maybe 1,500 people, right? It was a big hall. They got Siti Nohaliza, right? They had this thing, no budget for comedians, so Kavin Jay will do, right? So, and I was supposed to go on right after the CEO speech.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm like, okay lah, works out like he opened for me, right? So the CEO goes up, right, starts talking, blah blah blah, shell this, shell that, shell this, shell that, blah blah blah, and he ends it with, this year is the oil crisis, and we will be letting go of 3,000 people. Ladies and gentlemen, comedian.
Oh my god, that is a
at that
bad
point,
move, man.
I'm walking up to people going, am I going to lose my job?
Oh shit.
Which is, I recovered from it because I did the joke about, being jobless in Malaysia. But, at the end of the day, like, clearly they got the comedian just to break
I think they
the
were.
tension, no.
Oh man, that was well planned though. That's crazy.
That was what a jump off the cliff lah.
So you see, you didn't know anything about the laying off.
I didn't know.
Shit.
I'm a comedian. Yeah, I used to work in oil and gas before this, but like I knew there was this thing, but I didn't know they would give you an annual dinner to tell you
man,
they're going to lay
that's
you off.
crazy,
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
Right?
and there's 1,500 people there. They say going to lay 3,000 people off.
Yep.
It's like, is it us? Like what's going on?
Yeah. Parting dinner.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, that's scary, dude.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of people going to lose their jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, Kavin Jay. I'm like walking up going,
Oh man.
they could have easily got Siti Nohaliza to break
Yeah,
the
man.
tension. You know what I'm saying?
That would be bad. That would actually quite safer as well.
Yeah, exactly. At least, people will be like, I'm going to lose my job. Oh, Siti Nohaliza, it's okay lah, it's
I
okay.
think it's not like adding salt to the injury.
Yeah,
That kind
and
of
this
thing,
was
yeah.
before my Netflix, right? So nobody knew who I was. Like, I'm going to lose my job. Who's this guy?
Yeah, okay, but like speaking of performing on stages and things, right? So you
Right.
know, like when the show gets bombed or something, and the crowd isn't responsive, like what do you feel? Because like I've never done this, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, so I'm just imagining like, oh fuck, I'm saying some funny things that I think are funny, and then people aren't really responding. I would feel quite like shit. It's about how do you overcome that, like time to time again?
You
Just
feel
suck
like
it up.
there's a reason why it's called dying, right?
Yeah.
Because you really feel like dying,
Yeah.
and most of the time, when it depends on where you are, right? If you're doing a corporate and you have to understand the fact that there are forces above you that you cannot control. Like for instance, the story that I told you about the Japanese
drunk
company.
pearl,
There's no
yeah.
way I could have controlled that. The Shell thing, no way I could have controlled that, right? But if everything was under your control, if you're doing it in a comedy club and you walk up and you die, then you have to take a long hard look on what you did to cause this, right? Because I mean, it boils back to you. Why? Because people don't want to not like you.
Yep.
Right, especially in a comedy club, people walk in, they paid money, they want to laugh. You just have to give them a reason, right? And at the end of the day, if you made them not laugh, what did you do? And especially, I mean, sometimes I get it like in a comedy club also, like nobody does well.
Yep.
Then maybe okay, there's something wrong with the audience. But if everybody else does well and you don't, then yeah, you got to take a long hard look at your material and your performance. Like, what did you do wrong? Like, what happened? Like, and you have to be honest with yourself. Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done like this. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's a lot of self-reflection lah.
Yeah.
So so most of the time what I do is I feel bad until 11 o'clock next morning, right? So that is the rule. If you ask any comedian, they have this rule, right? So if you do well, you go until 11 o'clock next morning to feel good about yourself, or if you do badly, you go until 11 o'clock next morning to feel bad about yourself. After that is thinking about your next show already.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
you force yourself to pick up.
yeah, you force yourself to pick up. You learn from your mistakes. That's for one. If you die, like, I mean, I don't think any professional comic would die in that manner. Even if they did, they know how to pick themselves up, right? It's one of those things. Like, if you're walking into a dead crowd, you need something to grab their attention, and if you have to say things that would shock them,
So be it.
so be it. Do it, right? You know, like you know, a lot of corporates, they don't allow you to swear or say anything bad or sexual or anything bad. So the first joke I do is about my breasts. Right? It's not technically dirty, right? But it grabs it. They're like, "What? Did he say that?" And then you do a funny joke, right?
Yeah.
And then oh, okay, this guy's funny. Let's listen. So yeah, so there's always tricks and to the trade. But if you really do die without external causes, yeah, it's you. It's
Self-reflection
something that you did.
Yeah.
There must be something that you did. That's why we record all our sets and we look back to it later. Yeah, what's going on? What did we do? What did we do wrong? Did we perform with dick hanging out? Hopefully not lah.
But besides, like, because before you were a comedian, I remember because I watched your special maybe a couple months back. Then you mentioned that you used to be a radio host.
I used to be a radio host, yes, for Red FM.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
it was me and Zach, two comedians. I think we were the first ever comedians to have a show on our own.
Nice.
Because you know, usually radio and TV, when they hear comedians, they're like, oh, cannot, dangerous. You know, they will say things about the government. It's like, we don't want to talk about the government, you know. But yeah, so they gave us a show. And it went really well. Like, we got good ratings and stuff, so they kept us on. But Zach left, so I was left there.
Yeah.
And for 3 years, I was with Red FM doing the drive show. And it was a lot of fun, you know. I learned a new discipline. In a way, because being on radio and being live on stage is two very different things, right? Because you get the instant gratification of you know, laughter and stuff like that. But when you're trying to be funny on air, it becomes very difficult. You can't gauge. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if it's funny or not. You know, you simply whack on it. Which is why a lot of, like, you know, a lot of people like listen to morning radio and stuff like that. Like, oh, you know, this is hopeless. You know, they're not funny, blah blah blah. But then let them know lah. Don't just complain back at the back. You know, you have to tell them that's the gratification that we get. And you know, at the end of the day, it's a very different muscle lah that you have to receive. Like, and there's not many comedians out there who have that ability to do both radio and comedy. Because two very different personalities. You know.
Because the audience is paying too, so it's not they might not be fans of comedy either.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And
really
you kind of have to relate to them in a whole different level.
Yeah.
But you have to be entertaining lah. That's the most important part. But at the end of the day, it's so different, you know, because like Zach was the first one to actually do it. Like he was on Light FM before that, which was I also auditioned for, but I didn't get picked because I didn't say right things apparently. No, I did though, because I was on the 3 a.m. show on Light FM, and I was a bit annoyed because after 1 week they haven't given me anything yet, right? I was like, so I said this lah. I said, hey, if you can't sleep, don't worry, we have the music to put you to sleep. And apparently that was not the right thing to say. So yeah lah.
But it is true. I mean, the music at that hour is
exactly
true.
right. Who wants to listen to Neil Diamond at 3 o'clock in the morning? You know what I'm saying? And if you're 80, you should be asleep.
Exactly.
Okay, but you know, continuing on about your radio host job and things like, what do you think about the, I think, expansion and how a lot of like radio stations are doing this prank calls thing and subsequently really bombing and that.
Yeah, no, it's been bombing for years now. It's not subsequently. It's been consistently bombing. Okay, the rationale behind it is the people who listen to the radios, the stations that do the prank calls now are not the same people who used to listen to the radio of when they started the prank calls,
I
right?
think it started with like JJ and Rudy. He's the
Yeah,
fan.
of course. Actually, yeah, even before that with Fly Guy Lil Kev. And here's the thing, like when they did it, it was fresh. It was like, wow, we never heard this before. This is a breaking ground thing, right? Now it's more like, bro, you did it like, for 12 years. Stop lah, stop, please, grow up, And like you pissing off people for no reason. And of course, we live in an age where people get upset for shit, So I guess it's a lack of idea.
Yeah.
Here's what I think about Malaysian media, right? Malaysian media is the biggest culprit on why Malaysian art is not up to mark.
I agree.
Yep.
Is the biggest reason, because you know why? They don't even give us a platform to do what we want to do.
Yep.
They are run by old men who think they know what young people want.
Yes.
Right? They are run by people who basically value money over anything else.
Yep.
They are run by people who basically think that, look, if we just copy and paste something that works, we will work too and we will make money. And it's absolutely horrible, because then nobody even introduces you to new music.
Yep.
Right? Malaysia gets new music 3 months after it's even released, and that's like, what is wrong with you? Like, even Malaysians, they don't even have playtime.
Yep.
They have a segment on radio 1 hour a week. And that's bullshit, right? That's like, come on lah, and here's the thing, like some of the biggest bands in Malaysia, all got day jobs.
Yep.
Yes.
That's like saying Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters is a architect in his free time. You know what I'm saying? That's not how it's supposed to work. If you're a musician, you should be able to focus on your art, but you can't do that. You know why? Because at the end of the day, radio is not playing your music. If radio not playing your music, nobody can listen to it. At the end of the day, I understand Spotify is there for a reason, right? But Spotify, you have to search for the music.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what to search for, you're not going to search for it.
Yep.
Right? Which is great. I think Spotify is the biggest, catalyst to Malaysian music, because they actually give you new music, right?
Yeah.
They have this daily new stuff which you can click on.
Playlist for you.
Yeah, and you can click on it and you can hear new stuff and you see what you like and what you don't like,
Yep.
right? Which is great. But local radios don't do this. Local radios has never played a locally produced English music on air.
Yep.
Unless it's Yuna who's doing it in US, or Ziawi who's doing it in US as well.
Basically mainstream
Yeah,
music.
so you have to leave the country to become famous in your own country.
Yeah.
That's
Kind of weird.
yeah.
What logic is that?
Exactly, and okay, Malay stations and stuff like that, they play local music because really they have no choice, right? But let's face it, like I understand it's Malay, right? So you have to play Malay songs. Where you could get Malay songs from China, right? So so they play local music, which is great, right? I get it, I understand, and I'm for that.
Yeah.
But what about locally produced English movies? What about locally produced English TV programs? There's nowhere to sell it now,
Yep.
right? Because there was NTV7. Now
Yeah,
that's changed to predominantly a Chinese channel, which
Yep.
I have nothing against. But then Astro has nowhere to put a locally produced English channel.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
actually, come to think of it, because mostly also it's like Cheerio or Warner is more like the Malay.
Yeah, it's very
centric
Malay
side.
centric,
Yeah.
right? So if you put it in English, it will not do well, because you're putting it out into an audience which
Won't understand, yeah, they won't
won't
know.
understand it. Or the thing is, like, all we ask for is a channel that we can put stuff in. Like, all the other channels are from America. They buy it from America or Singapore, or stuff like that. And we've never had Harith's been doing it for 28 years. Joanne's been doing it for 28 years. We've never had a stand-up comedy special in Malaysia. Right, we had to wait for Netflix to come to Malaysia to give us specials.
Yep.
Right, and now iFlix is doing it as well. But at the end of the day, it's like someone else has to come and do something. Then can make money.
Yeah, exactly.
That
And
says
it-
a lot about the industry.
Yeah, Malaysia in so many ways is controlled by people who think they know what you want.
Yep.
And which is why, it's great that podcasts are coming up now, right? Podcast is something like, if you walked into like, let's say, Astro Radio, and say you wanted to do a podcast,
Yeah,
they will spit
they
on
will
your
look
face.
at you, man.
They will spit on you. What is a podcast? Can make money or not? But now that the trend is growing, guess what? They're doing podcasts.
Yep.
Yes.
They died miserably, but they tried to do it.
Because even the Astro now, they have like subdivisions.
Yeah.
So there's what's the name again? Hey, Josh, Rocket Fuel. All right. So Rocket Fuel,
Right.
that those guys. what's that kid's name?
I can't remember.
Harvin Skin,
okay.
this bunch of people. So they are working under as a talent. So they produce content and all that kind of stuff
Right,
like that.
right.
So I think they have they're having podcasts and kind of stuff like that. They are basically the young.
Yeah, I get
Young
it.
guys.
And here's the thing, when you set a trend, you are the trendsetter.
Yeah.
When you join a trend, you just
Because what they
you
did
just
was
you just a wannabe lah.
they saw an opportunity. So they bought these guys over. They just invested in them.
Yeah.
Right. So then because they see an opportunity with what they
lah.
can do, and then Astro doesn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I know. At the end of the day, but 5 years ago, we talked to them about doing a podcast, and they proverbially spit on our face, lah. So it's kind of like, oh no, your podcast will never make it. Like come on, lah. You look at it. Like when we talked to them about specials and stuff like that, we wanted to produce. Like they say, no, you can't make it with specials. Nobody has apparently in Malaysia, nobody has the attention span to watch comedy for an hour.
What?
I'm like,
Bullshit,
we've been
lah.
doing it live.
People
for-
pay money
Yeah,
to watch a
exactly.
full hour freaking comedy
Exactly.
set.
They were like, no, they won't do it at home. And I'm like, this is the crap. And then you look at Netflix and
Exactly. Look at all the specials. they're
30% of their content is stand-up comedy
Yep.
specials, right? And then now they're like, oh, maybe we should do that too. Like, but then they go and put it on Warna, which is basically killing us as well, because they don't have for them it's about money, because Warna you have to pay extra. So lah, that's what happens lah.
But like you a fan of like that tattoos or
I wasn't before, but I am now. I got one tattoo when I was 18 years old,
Yeah.
right? I was in the UK, and my roommate, who was my rugby teammate, so he wanted to get a tattoo, so I just followed lah, right? And apparently this tattoo artist at that time was really cheap, right?
Yeah.
So this tattoo artist was like, hey, why don't you do one as well? I was like, sure. And he's like, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. He's like, so I looked through this thing, and there was this dream catcher that I really liked, because I had a dream catcher as well. So, and then I looked at him and said, I want this one. He said, do you mind if I freehand? I was like, sure. And then he right? And it came out okay. I mean, this is obviously old lah. And so I from there, that's all I had. And then my brother passed away, so I got his tattoo.
Yep.
Which is basically what he had. So I had the same thing. And that's when I realized, like, but that time, you see, that was all I could do.
Yeah.
Because I was working in a corporate world, right?
Yeah.
And then when I got out of it, I guess, hey, I could do tattoos that people can see now, right? And so I got my forearms as well. Then I started with this, and then there was a microphone here, which I covered up. And then I did the armband, and then I got this,
That's not
which
actually
is in
nice.
Elvish, by the way, as called
shit.
back to
Oh,
what he
nice.
said earlier.
But that's a nice tattoo though.
Which one? This one?
This one, yeah.
Yeah, this is cool. I like it. Actually, I had my daughter's name already.
Oh, nice.
And he built around it.
Oh, that's cool. Man. That's nice
That's
tattoo
really
though.
cool.
It's like one of those someone-looking tattoos, though.
Yeah, it is. It is a Maori armband. Everything has a meaning apparently.
Yeah.
Turtle shell is for protection, and then there's shark teeth around the name,
Yeah.
which basically protect against harm for this thing. And then there is the Roman royal kind of emblems, and then there's other things like which I don't know.
But it's okay. Most of us don't know.
See, I always start with those three, and by the time people already lost interest. So yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I know what it means.
As you can see, we're here. We're all like big fans of tattoos. He's a tattoo guy. He's a tattoo guy as well.
You're not,
Yeah,
obviously.
definitely not.
Obviously.
I wish I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah, well,
Maybe.
I know people who have, but never mind.
But are you planning to get any more?
Yes, actually, I am.
Do you have any ideas for your next designs?
Yeah, I already designed it.
Oh shit.
Okay, so it's gonna be here
Okay.
on my forearm, and it's gonna be the batarang
Oh,
with the Joker's face inside the batarang.
nice.
Oh, nice.
Right. So yeah.
That's
So your
cool.
left arm is the comic arm.
I guess. No, well, okay, I got Lord of the Rings. I have Phoenix, which is apparently Harry Potter, but that was not why it was there. And then the Batarang, yeah.
Okay.
Nice. So like, in terms of like, since now you have a podcast, right?
Uh-huh.
So how often does it go on?
Well, the problem with comedians is that, they got no discipline.
Yeah.
So we do I want to say weekly, I want to say bi-weekly, but at the end of the day, we do when we're free. So episodes do come out intermittently. The last episode I think came out in December, nearly the end, and I had 2 episodes come out almost simultaneously, almost weekly at that time, because we had recorded 2 and this thing. We did a live episode, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like I never knew podcast recording can be fun. Like with the live audience,
Yeah.
People reacted to it. People
which platform do you do it on?
Sorry.
Which platform do you do the live podcast on?
No, it's not live as in live like that.
Yeah.
I recorded it live.
Right.
So
there's
basically,
Yeah.
basically we went to the Crack House Comedy Club. We got an audience of 60, 70 people.
Nice.
They all paid for a ticket. They came down. They sat down. They listened to us do a podcast.
Like what you guys
And they
do, yeah.
laughed and they this thing, and so it was a live episode but not
Nice.
live episode as in live.
Yeah. But
Right,
it's
yeah.
still very cool though.
Yeah, and I didn't even have to edit the thing, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. So this is a question that I've always wanted to ask every comedian.
Okay.
So if I want to be a comedian, which I always wanted to be.
Lucky the question was not tell me a joke.
Actually, that would be one of the question.
God damn it.
Later, that'll be later. But so, cause I mean, I perform like as a musician, so I just
Okay.
sing songs and stuff, and that is
Okay.
really like I choke all the time.
Yeah, but so do comedians. Okay, go on.
But with singing, it's a different game completely with being a
Yes.
comedian. Because comedian is, you guys are witty. You guys gotta come up with stuff that's like,
Sure, sure.
To an
okay.
to an
If you
extent.
say so.
to the extent. But how, like, if you want to start as a comedian, what do I have to do? How do you even like start? Where do you start?
Okay, first you get a day job.
Okay.
because
Sorted.
No, because comedian doesn't comedy
pay well.
doesn't pay.
Yeah.
In fact, it took me like 5 years before I got properly paid for stuff. Comedy doesn't pay. Another thing is, look, you've already got the stage presence.
Yeah.
Right, because you do music and stuff. As long as you're going out in front of an audience to do something, you've already got that. I don't get stage fright. Right, I used to a lot. I still do sometimes, but it's not stage fright. It's more like I'm nervous about what the audience is going to think about me, kind of thing. So it's basically gratification. Then you gotta write material and write for yourself, like 3 minutes, right? And then this is the most important part. Do comedy.
So you go out.
You have to go on stage and do comedy. There's a lot of people who will sell you a comedy course, who will say, hey, come, we'll teach you how to do things.
How do you even teach comedy?
Yeah, but that's kind of rubbish, right?
Yeah, it's horrible. Okay, the only thing a comedy course has taught me is that comedy courses don't work, right? Because look, what are you gonna do? Like, okay, I've seen some of them that work, right?
Yeah.
They don't work per se, but I've seen some people who graduate from there and it's slightly funny lah, but they end up sounding exactly like the teacher. Right, because you don't
have your
own
own style, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have your own
You're
style
just
because
following the
you're
teacher,
following
that's
his technique. You're following his thing. You have to really work on your own technique. You have to work on your, like playing the guitar, for instance. You
Yep.
play the guitar, right? Like you have to have your own technique. Like everybody can't sound like Santana.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? It's weird. Like
Yeah.
like Satriani has his own style. All Steve Vai has his own style. All they are great.
Yep.
Guitarists because they have their own style, and it's very they come up it's not like they went to a guitar class and learned that style.
Yep.
They work hard
Yep.
towards play and I come up with my own style. In the same way, I think someone is trying to break into your house, guys. But in the same way, comedy is the same thing. Like you have to work on your craft, you have to work on your personality, and for some people, personality comes late in the game. Like you don't know what you want to be,
Yeah.
right? You try to be someone else because you think, oh, that guy's funny, I want to be like him, right? And then you slowly realize that nobody's buying this personality of yours because not you. And then you start being yourself, and then you have to realize being yourself is boring.
Yep.
Then you have to amplify one characteristic of yours, and which one is that? Like for me, it's grumpy, right? I complain and blah blah, and suddenly people thought that was funny. So and people kind of relate to that because they think it comes from a truthful place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So comedy is about truth as well, and so is music. But at the end of the day, you want to relate to the audience as much as possible, and for them to relate to you because it has to come from a true place.
Yeah.
So yeah, work hard. It's basically going down to open mics.
Try.
Try until you this thing, and that's how we weed out people who are not serious in doing comedy.
Yeah.
Because 2-3 times you die, ciao, don't need come back.
Basically, it's go hard or go home.
Yeah, and the problem is also the other end of the spectrum. We get people who got no friends, right? So basically, people who come do comedy, they hang out with the comedians, and then now they think they got friends, so they keep coming back, and we're like, no, you stop doing comedy because you suck. But there are people like that. So we welcome everybody. We welcome everyone. Like no matter what you are, we would welcome you to come and do comedy because we as much as it's corny to say, I really need more comedians in our industry, because it's selfish as well, because if there's not enough comedians, there's not
Competition is less.
there's no competition. If there's no competition, it's kind of boring lah.
Yeah.
Like you know how those days like, there was one comedian and he does the same joke all the time because there's no competition. But now he changes jokes, right?
yeah.
Well, because there's competition.
Yep. I mean, it improves. I mean, you improve each other with rivalries.
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
It helps. It definitely helps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you become better.
Yep.
Right. And the industry kind of builds with you. The more comedians you have, the more
Agreed.
the more hires you get.
I mean, it's basically just like any industry, to be honest. Even in your work, for example, you have someone who's better than you. You're gonna want to chase that as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always fighting for competition, right?
Yeah, man. Definitely.
So like, okay, in the comedic world,
Uh-huh.
who do you look up to? Who's your hero?
Locally or internationally?
Both.
With like your top number one.
My number one.
Number one, Malaysian.
You probably have never heard of him. His name is Rod Gilbert.
No.
Yeah, exactly. He's a Welsh comedian. You probably have heard of him, you just don't know his name. He's a Welsh comedian. He's done about 3 or 4 specials now. And he's the funniest person to me lah. He's like the funniest comedian in the world. I love his personality. I love his. In fact, you would find a lot of similarities between me and him, like in the sense of personality and the type of material that we do. No, by accident lah, completely by accident, because I found him like later on, and but he's basically if there's a benchmark that I want to live up to, it's him lah. You know, it's not popular. He's not a superstar or anything, but in the UK, he's huge lah. And if you can listen to him, RHOD Gilbert.
Right.
Yeah.
How about locally?
Locally, I guess probably the number one comedian in Malaysia right now is Douglas Lim.
Douglas Lim.
Douglas Lim.
I like his style actually.
He's by far probably the best
ballsy,
comedian in
man.
Malaysia. Yeah, I mean his writing, his performance, everything is great. Like there's a lot of things. The type of comedian he is very different from me. Like he's a
It's more brash, right?
not really like. That's not what I meant. Like, but he writes everything, right? He's a script writer. He's a writer,
Yeah.
right? And then he remembers the script and he regurgitates. Like that's not how I do. I don't write as much. I have an idea and I go on stage and I kind of work with it.
Yep.
But the thing is, his ideas, his wit. I think by far, bar none lah. He's probably the best comedian in Malaysia right now.
Nice. But he's very underrated though.
He is very underrated.
he's
Most
very
of them
underrated.
are like Kwa Jen Han, also
Yeah.
a great comedian, very underrated.
Yeah.
Kavin Jay, very underrated. But at the end of the day, Malaysia, as I said, media will only focus on the celebrities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, the people who have the following, the people who have this and that, they will never follow. They don't look at you with talent.
Yep.
Whether you got talent or not, they don't care. You got 1 million followers, let's go.
Agreed.
That's what Malaysian media is.
Unfortunately, I mean, our media is so controlled as well, and it's
It's
sad.
It's run by old men
Yep.
who think they know what everybody wants.
I mean, they're gonna die. I mean, eventually they're gonna.
Then they are replaced by the younger men who are now old men also. So it doesn't matter. We are
It's a cycle. It's always gonna be
we
there.
are always going to be 2 generations behind.
Yeah,
it
man.
doesn't matter.
Oh, that sucks, man.
You see this happened in the 80s as well. Like I think the only time we actually were current was the 90s. Right, the early 90s. I'm talking about 92, 93, and then slowly we were just stuck in the 90s, right? And then came the new era, which is now we're stuck in the 2000s, which is weird, right? We're always 2-3 generations behind, and we really need to change this.
Yep. We need to advance, man.
We need to advance. Like
Yeah.
look at our music. Like you
Yeah.
know, there's so much new music, new genres coming out. We don't even know of.
Exactly.
There's so many. Podcasting is one thing that people are listening to, but it's not. It's never going to be mainstream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, and TV is just going to always be Maharaja Lawak Mega 2000. It's
Yeah,
always
they
going to
still
be
replay
that.
clips from like 3 years ago.
They will still replay clips 10 years from now. I'm telling you, it's this. The only reason why we still have Maharaja Lawak is because they make money from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the mass market all watches it.
Yeah, no, not that. They get sponsors. They get, when you vote. Here's a little insider this thing, right? So I found out they when they do comedy, they love to do it as a competition format because of the SMS.
Yeah.
Right? So they make money from the SMS, and that's the only reason why they do it. And as comedians, we don't want to compete.
Yeah.
We don't want to be funnier than this guy.
Yeah, rather
We
uplift
just
each
want to be
other.
funny to you.
Yeah.
We just let us perform, like give us a platform to just go up on stage and tell jokes, right? But no, they want to make it a competition. So every week you got to perform every week. You know how hard is it to write material every week?
Yep.
Like that is the hardest thing in the world. And then at the end of the day, you get 500,000 for your troubles. It's
Even the best comedians don't write every day.
they don't.
Yeah.
They write an hour every year.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that it's a lot of work for them to come up. Basically, we're doing all the work in the TV program. All the production has to do is come up with the cameras and go, let's see what you got. Right? So basically, it's such a cheap production because all you need to pay is for the cameras
Yep.
and the venue, and you don't have to pay writers, you don't have to pay this, you don't have to pay that, you don't have to pay whatever. So everything, and these guys come as a contestant, right?
Yep.
So basically, it's free work.
Yeah.
Right, so at the end you get a prize, but what about those people who worked hard and got into the semi-final and didn't win?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, it's just stop doing competitions, lah, please.
Right. So about the whole making a joke thing.
Right.
So we have a challenge for you.
Sure.
So
Regrettably.
so you let me pick what you want to pick on the table for you to make fun of.
Okay, I think we start simple. Mug.
Mug.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite jokes actually. Would you like a mug? A mug of chow hai.
Your kind of shit, right? okay. You passed the challenge then. Okay, anyway, unfortunately, gotta end this podcast, but we're really happy to have you here.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you so
I had
much
a
for
freaking
having
blast.
me.
I had a
Appreciate
freaking
your
blast.
time, man.
No problem,
Had a
man.
big
I hope
blast.
the 3 audience love it.
But anyway, so before you go, obviously, you plug your platform. So what are you on Instagram?
Okay, Instagram is at Kavin Jay, KavinJay.
Yep.
Facebook, Kavin Jay, KavinJay. Twitter at Kavin Jay, KavinJay. Podcast, The Macha Man. You can listen on Spotify, iTunes, or Podbean.
MACHA.
The as in DHE. THE. Macha as in macho with an A. and men as in men. MEN. Right. The Macha Man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, man.
so much,
And I mean, anytime will you be performing soon? You'll be performing anytime soon?
Well, I am doing the Joke Factory next month a few times. I think I'm hosting Andrew Neto show on the 14th and 15th. After that, I'm going to Europe to do a sort of mini tour.
Nice.
Helsinki, Berlin, and Hamburg, I think.
Nice.
And then I'm coming back, and then on March 14th, I am doing a live podcast recording. Please come for that. It's a lot of fun.
Let us know, man. Let us know.
Yeah,
for sure,
please.
For sure.
I'll give
We
you
know
all
the things we
invites.
don't know about it because it's not really like.
No, I'll give you all invites. I'll give you all invites. Come, it's in Alexis
you have my
Bangsa.
number, hit me up.
Yeah, it's in Alexis Bangsa. It's going to be a very cozy little thing. I think 50 people.
Oh, okay,
And
nice.
we'll set up all the recording equipment. We'll do some stand up first, and then second half we'll do the podcast recording. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm talking about the Japanese guy, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Okay.
Heard it here first.
Nice.
March 14, Alexis Bangsa. Anyway, thank you so much, Kavin
Thank
Jay.
you, man.
Alright,
Thank
I'm
you.
your host,
Kavin.
Jim, and this is Nabil. Anyway,
Make
peace
it
out.
So special lah. Ciao.